Hi there, this is Janet Kirshen-Siegel, and I'm the Lonely Writer. This is serious social media help for the independent author. The independent author is defined as a writer who does not yet have an agent. All this month I'm doing daily prompts for NaNoWriMo. These prompts are in all kinds of orders, so please feel free to double back, shift them around, skip a few, look at them later, whatever you like, go crazy. Today's prompt is just one word. It's the word starving. So now, what do we mean when somebody is starving? It's kind of an obvious term, but we use it sometimes when we're speaking hyperbolically. So part of it is about hunger, to be sure, but there's a real difference between when we skip a meal or we're dieting and we say that we're starving versus somebody who lives in a very poor country where the crops have failed. And, when you see these children who are 6 in and their bellies are kind of bowed out, that's a very different definition of the term starving. Of course, that's a major, it's extraordinarily dangerous to your continued existence. So when we speak of it in a culture where we have plenty, it's more very often about deprivation, about maybe missing out on something. So when we may be even using the term in a somewhat relative fashion, even though the truth is starvation is it's a pretty clear-cut term when you think about it. But the way that we've co-opted it to use it to talk about when we're, like I said, when we missed a meal, we've kind of, in some ways, I think we've cheapened this term. So maybe pull it back and decide what you want to use with this word. Now, of course, the question is, when is a person starving? Part of this is when their stomach is empty, but it's also what happens when somebody is starving for affection or they're starving for attention. So again, it's about deprivation. But once again, we have a co-opted term which is being used for things that maybe are a little much. Maybe we're overstating it, so we're using it for hyperbole. And what if someone is dieting? Maybe your character's doing that. And here's a question also: does it matter if what you're hungry for, what you're starving for, is something that you've had before or something that you've never had? Does that make a difference? And maybe that's a shade of meaning that we can use with this prompt in terms of writing. So are you starving for a relationship? Let's say if you've never dated, are you starving for a hamburger because you haven't had one since yesterday? I think that there's a difference there, and maybe you can use that to your advantage if you're using this prompt to write. And finally, once again, this is Janet Kirshen-Siegel, and I'm the Lonely Writer, because an independent writer never has to be alone. Thank you so much for listening. Don't starve yourself, by the way, and good luck with NaNoWriMo. Thanks.